came to life and killed James?
Yes.
We are talking Nutcracker Massacre. This is a low-budget British Christmas horror movie directed by Rebecca Matthews, or at least that's the pseudonym here. Now, this is a Scott Jeffrey production, who you may have heard me mention a few times before, a low-budget, prolific B-movie producer. And this one has a named talent involved in the cast, that being Patrick Bergin, albeit a smallish role. Now, what is the story? Well, it focuses on this family coming together for Christmas, and the niece of this kind of American woman picks up this Christmas gift at a local Christmas shop, which has got Patrick Bergin as the store owner there, and it's a handmade wooden Christmas decoration, and she goes to her aunt's house and stuff for Christmas, and we see that she's got this, cousin there. She's got the cousin's boyfriend, there's a couple of other people as well. And there seems to be some type of Christmas evil within this house as the large 6-foot nutcracker that they have on display comes alive and dispatches people in bloody fashion. What'll happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss what I think works with Nutcracker Massacre. Well, it's a kind of a tradition now. Whenever your Christmas rolls around, you get a slew of low-budget Christmas horror movies, and this year is no exception. Although I don't remember seeing one from specifically a Nutcracker as our antagonist. So this one does have a kind of a fresh new antagonist for our heroes to kind of go against, which makes it quite interesting. And let's be honest, these Nutcracker dolls and, Nutcrackers, they're pretty kind of freaky looking if you actually kind of just, ever see them out in the world. They're kind of like weirdly kind of clunky looking kind of creatures. So, yeah, I guess it does make for a pretty good horror antagonist at the end of the day. This takes a somewhat kind of a standard slasher, supernatural slasher approach, where our Nutcracker dispatches various people, most of whom are asking for it in various kind of fashions. The highlight of this movie for me is where the name Nutcracker really comes into a quite literal sense. That's all I'll kind of say. Possibly the best scene in the movie, and far more graphic than I was expecting for it to go, to be honest with you. The rest of the kills, standard kind of like low budget kind of slasher fare, to be honest with you. It has a shortish running time, so it's kind of quite punchy to a certain degree. Patrick Bergin is kind of interesting. You may feel I'm somewhat kind of scraping the barrel with this one. What else can I say that works in this movie? It's Christmas! Woo! Okay, let's maybe talk about what doesn't work in this movie. This seems like one of these films that was probably shot over a weekend, to be honest. The writing here, I think, let's start there. This to me is the main culprit, to be honest with you, for what is maybe the issues with this movie. The writing here is extremely lackluster, to be polite. The characters are paper thin and have somewhat ridiculous kind of character traits. Our main character, the nice niece, for some reason she doesn't want to tell her family that she's slept with her boyfriend and pretends that he's at work. There's no real reason for this, just to have, other than to have inflated drama, where she kind of gets caught in the lie, so to speak. Why? There's no genuine reason why she doesn't just say, oh yeah, we've split up, and that will be the end of it. But by far and away, the worst culprit of this is the daughter of the auntie, so our main protagonist's cousin, called Mousy, who is the most ridiculously over mean girl you've ever seen put to film. I mean, this girl is beyond imagining in regards to how, like, over the top she is with her kind of, like, bitchiness and meanness. I mean, there's just taking it to a ridiculous level where this, like, literally anything she does is so over the top in regards to being selfish or mean to others. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this character is a walking cliche. It is terrible. But even down to some of the kind of the situational issues here, this possessed nutcracker kills various people, but there's magically no blood or scene of the crime or bodies or anything like this. And I always think with films like this, it's just, you know, is this nutcracker strapping on his his rubber gloves, getting the bleach out and kind of like wiping down the sides? It never really makes sense to me whether if there's no trace of a kill, you know, because that's ultimately what would have had to have happened. It's just silly, you know, silly movie. You know, the acting here, unfortunately, and I got the impression, and this is probably the script, air quotes, was probably written on the back of a napkin, and it was probably filmed in a few days. So the acting here is pretty kind of like ropey, if I'm kind of being polite. Some may fare better than others. There's kind of plenty of kind of cliches. Of course, the boyfriend's having an affair, and of course it's with one of her friends, etc., etc. You know, it's lots of kind of inflated drama to kind of pad out the running time to have a feature-length movie. It's typical of these type of kind of productions. The actual Nutcracker itself, I mean, I thought this was going to actually be like a killer doll movie, but it's a kind of a, you know, basically a guy in a suit with a, you know, life-size kind of nutcracker, which kind of looks a little bit cheap, shall we say. This is a cheap film, so I guess that kind of stands to reason, to be honest with you. Outside of the one nutcracker sequence, the kills are pretty unremarkable. For some reason, this movie has a kill at the beginning, and then repeats literally the same kill in the movie. I won't give you the context why. I mean, I assume it's just to start off the movie with a kill, but we see a kill which happens partway through the movie, then we see the same kill happen again with the kind of the same footage, just a little bit edited down. Weird decision, but there you go. The movie slows down to an absolute halt where we have Patrick Bergin's kind of big scene where he ultimately kind of narrates the kind of the exposition dump about the Nutcracker. Oh god, it just goes on forever. Which I think we have a kind of little bit of a flashback as well. I kind of wanted to like this one because I kind of do enjoy Christmas horror films, and as I say, the air quote Nutcracker scene is worth seeing, I will say. But outside of that, I mean, this Christmas, the other problem with this movie, I think here actually, thinking about it, is this movie, they take it seriously. You know, the characters in this movie, it's played straight. Had they played this for like schlock or B movie, you know, the same producer has made The Killing Tree. Although I haven't actually watched that yet, I have seen the trailer, and that seems to be a real schlocky kind of knowingly silly B movie, and I think that's probably the one they should have gone with this one as well. But in kind of instead they try and play it straight, but with a horrible script, a kind of somewhat unconvincing looking killer, lapses in logic, and unfortunately quite kind of poor acting. So it really is a bit of a miss, this one, to be honest. As I said, this has one pretty good scene in it, which to me is maybe kind of worth checking that bit out on its own. But the rest of this movie around it is unfortunately somewhat Grinch-worthy. 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.